Kia ora guys, it's Andi.
And Ayla.
And welcome to
Sinister Dynasty.
And I've just realised that we're a Kiwi podcast, so we probably should be starting with Kia ora all the time. I don't know how many episodes it's taken me to realise that, but all good.
Too many.
Too many.
I didn't even realise that though, so.
Yeah, I said it before. I was like, hang on, I should be saying this all the time. Oh well, learning curve, we'll get there. So today, what I'm going to be covering is kind of a weird one. It really depends on
And the rest of them aren't.
Yeah, that is a fair point. That is very fair. Well, anyway, so I'm going to be doing the murder of Susan Burdett today. So this is kind of a popular case in the fact... I'll get into it anyway. We'll just jump into it.
I've never heard of it, so...
Yeah. You might have heard it under a different name.
Oh.
So I've been a bit sneaky. So the murder of Susan Burdett. So on the 23rd of March 1992... Susan went bowling at Manukau, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I'm from New Zealand. Okay, all good. On Manukau Super Strike. So she finished bowling and then she went home and had a shower, and she lived alone, so obviously there was no one at home with her.
Don't say that. I'm home alone tonight. So are you.
No, I've got my cat, and you've got your
My two
flatmate.
cats. No, he's away.
Oh, is he away too?
Yeah, I'm big house, two cats.
Oh.
Who like to boost around in the middle of the night and make scary noises.
Oh, she'll be right. Just don't sleep.
I won't.
You'll be fine.
I've got you. I won't.
Yeah, cool. So obviously she was the only one home. 2 days later, on the 25th of March 1992, she was found dead. So here's a bit of a trigger warning here. She was found face up on her waterbed and naked from the waist down, and there was semen found in her as well. So you can kind of put together what
Two and two
there.
together.
Yeah. So she kept a softball bat next to her bed for protection, and she'd been struck at least 5 times in the head with it. And the police compared her body to that of like a car crash. So it was very similar. Yeah. Pretty intense stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and just no one finding her for 2 days, if it even happened on the 23rd, because again, you don't really know the dates or anything, but... Yeah, so anyway, a few days after that, a 17-year-old boy called Tina Porter was walking through Manukau Park with some mates when he found a softball bat in a drain.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I tricked people using Susan's name. So they found a softball bat in the drain. He was a well-known car thief at the time, and he was also a mongrel mob prospect. Yeah.
You couldn't see that, but I rolled my eyes.
So there's that. So when his aunt found out about the bat, she thought that he'd been involved in the murder, and so she reached out to police about it.
10 out of 10, Auntie.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm here for you.
Yeah, so they interviewed Porter twice in April and May of 1992, and both times he denied being involved. He provided hair and DNA samples to support his case as well.
I mean, he's a pretty confident person.
Oh, he's very confident, yeah. But his aunt didn't believe it and kept pushing that he was involved. So again, like, you found a bat, your nephew's found a bat, and a lady's just been murdered, like, previously, and he's a prospect as well. Just, so you can see where she's coming from. You can. But he's also provided evidence.
You know, rumours are, I don't know what the story is with being a prospect, but, you know, sometimes they've got a murder to become...
Yeah, they've got a murder or rape or both to become part of
not
the
a prospect.
Yeah, to become not a prospect, yeah. So, yeah, you can... There's that. Anyway, so a year later in 1993... he was arrested because he didn't show up to a court case. So Porter wasn't arrested the first time because there was the evidence that he provided. So after being arrested, he told a police officer about feeling unwanted at home, and that he was dealing with a lot of pressure by being wanted by both the police and the mob. So he was going through some pretty shitty times, really.
I wonder why the mob wanted him. What did he do?
I don't know. Yeah. What was I? So perhaps to help him, the officer that was interviewing Pora, he told him that there was a $20,000 reward for anyone who could offer information that could help catch Susan's killer.
Does he try and get that money and hand himself in?
Wow.
Because that is hilarious.
I mean, so kind of. Yeah, he kind of does it. So Pora reacted to this and confessed that he had driven 2 mongrel mob members to Susan's house and then acted as lookout as they went inside. Because you're spending $20,000 to catch the person, so...
Okay, he's saying he's not the person.
Yeah.
At least he wasn't like, right, I did it, where's my 20 grand?
Yeah. But, so he didn't give the names of the 2 members, but the police suggested 2 people, and he agreed that it was those people.
Oh.
So the police looked into the 2 members. However, they found that they had solid alibis, and their DNA also did not match what was found on Susan's body.
I hope he didn't get the money.
Well, actually, I don't know if he got the money. I don't think it said so anywhere. He might have got it. He might not have got it. I don't know.
Does it have the 20 grand reward who could be offered for information?
Yeah, it was
helped
information
in the catch, so he wouldn't have because they didn't catch
the
anyone.
people. Yeah, true. So no, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Good.
So Pora was held for 4 days and was questioned for 14 hours without. This was despite the fact that Pora could not pick Susan's house when the police took him there. So they took him to the street and he couldn't pick her house out. And he also said he heard screaming the first time when Susan's neighbours only heard dull thuds. So
what were her neighbours up to?
What do you mean?
I have to admit, if I heard dull thuds, I'd be like, the fucking kids.
Yeah,
but,
I wouldn't have done anything about that. They just heard dull thuds, yeah.
Am I talking shit about someone who didn't do this?
Huh? Well, let's get through this, because actually I don't know. But in 1994, so 2 years after Susan's murder, Porter was convicted with the rape and murder of Susan Burdett. There was no DNA or any other direct evidence linking him to the murder scene, but his changing confessions found him guilty, and fair enough as well.
He couldn't pick her house though. That's weird.
Yeah. And he said that he also heard screaming again, and there was no screaming by the sounds of it.
That's weird.
So his aunt, the one that had put him in the shit pretty much, she was a key witness in his conviction, and it was found that she'd also been paid $5,000 to be at the trial.
By who?
By the police. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So Porter was sentenced to life in Paremoremo prison, I think.
Good
try. Thank you.
She tried.
I did. So in 1995, going back to the money, so this was 3 years after the murder, Porter was offered $50,000 if he could give police 3 more names involved in Susan's rape and murder. So they must have thought that he didn't act alone in it. He was also offered help when he could apply for parole, so they would help to get him out when he was eligible to come out for a parole.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so he gave 3 names and then later appealed his conviction. However, in 1998, a stay of proceedings was placed on the case by the Solicitor General, and in the year 2000, Porter was found guilty of the crime a second time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't actually know what a stay of proceedings means. I think it just means it can't go any further at all.
Would you like
to stop or suspend a proceeding or trial temporarily or indefinitely? A court may later lift the stay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I was right. So I think it just gave it away. Okay, cool. So switching up the timelines entirely and going to a completely different person, in the mid-1970s, so 20 odd years before anything, there was a man called Malcolm Reba who was discharged from the army. He had raped a lady shortly afterwards, and then he also raped a nurse as well whilst his wife was in labour. So he's a bit of a scumbag. Or not a lot of a scumbag. Yeah.
Disgusting.
Horrible person.
Waste of oxygen.
He was caught for these acts, which is really good, and he was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, it's
what
ridiculous.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah. I'm guessing he didn't even stay in that whole time either.
Oh god, good behaviour.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
That's gross. So after getting out, he raped another lady.
Oh my god.
But he was almost recognised by her, so he put more effort into disguising himself. And then he kept doing it using disguises by the looks of it.
Ooh.
So he didn't have any consequences because of this. By this time, he was part of the Highway 61 gang, and had the nicknames Hammer and Michael Lewis. So those are important. He was arrested 9.5 years later after his first known attack in May 1996. This is a bit shocking. Just gross. After a dad caught his car registration as they ran away from his latest victim, a 15-year-old girl. So she was in a horrible way. I read into it. I don't really want to say it was a horrible way.
If you want to look it up, you look it up.
Yeah.
But we're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
I wonder how many he had all up, because at what point he takes so many, like he'd ruined. Okay, you tell me, and then I'll say my piece.
In May 1998, he was found guilty for 24 rapes.
At what point?
Yeah.
He ruined so many lives. At what point does he lose his life for ruining so many other people's lives?
Ridiculous, eh?
I reckon.
And that's all they know of as well.
Death. To on the fence about the death sentence, but if you ruin that many people's lives, you've ruined a child. That child.
Yeah, child, literally adolescent. Yeah.
Castrate. Let him bleed to death.
Agreed.
I'm so pissed off.
We've got strong words.
Come
but
on, New Zealand.
We believe them.
Get your fucking shit together.
Yeah, and again, that was just the minimum number
and
as well.
And if he's proven to have disgusting.
So he was
angry. I'm angry.
Yeah, I'm just kind of dissociating from it. It's ridiculous. So he was sentenced to life in prison with a non-parole period of 22 years. An apology was also issued to his victims, as it had taken so long to catch him. He showed remorse for the rapes he confessed to, but not for the ones he didn't confess to. So
bullshit. He's bullshitting.
Yeah.
So he gets a lesser term.
Yeah.
If he was remorseful, he wouldn't fucking do it.
Yeah. There's that.
He's
too.
only remorseful because he got fucking caught.
Yeah.
I'm so angry.
Yeah. So in 1999, so after the murder now, there was a match found for the DNA at Susan's murder site. This matched Lewa. So he was adamant he did not murder Susan and that he was actually having an affair with her, which explained why his semen was there. However, he was convicted of raping her and given an extra 14 years in prison because he had
Good.
So an extra. So what's that? 36 years total, I think, without parole.
Good.
So he was not convicted for a murder, as Porter was already doing time for this, and the jury were unable to decide whether Lewa was involved in that or not.
I think so was.
Wow. So remember that Porter appealed his conviction in 2000 when it was known that the DNA found with Susan matched Lewa, and he was still found guilty.
I wonder what evidence they had on him, eh? Do you talk about that?
Well,
do we know that?
I chatted about at the end a little bit. No, I'll get to the end. Yeah, there's a bit of information from there. So Porter continued to maintain his innocence, and he applied for the royal prerogative of mercy. So this means that the Governor General can order a new trial because he had this stay of proceedings and blah blah blah.
You deserve no mercy.
Yeah. So what, Porter?
Oh no, you do. You do. My bad. Sorry, I'm still angry about the other guy.
Yeah. So Porter's legal team also prepared an appeal to the Privy Council and Privy Council. I don't know. Privy sounds like bathroom. Good enough. So in 2009, Tim McKinnell, an ex-detective turned private investigator, also started looking into Porter's case.
Did you turn private investigator because how shit our legal system is?
Maybe. You never know, eh? You never know. Probably. There was also a detective, Sergeant Dean Henwood, who was a criminal profiler, and he believed Porter was innocent and chased Lewa's involvement. And that was based on his knowledge of Lewa's signature. So Lewa would rape people just by himself. He wouldn't do it with anybody else. And by the looks of it, that's what happened to Susan, was there was nobody there. So he kind of connected the two.
Did he escalate? Oh.
Well, so I will get there.
Oh, God, sorry.
He believed the first jury did not convict Lewa as Porter was already convicted of the crime. Jim agreed and believed that Lewa killed his sister. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Oh, so Jim. I'll start again. So he believed the first jury. So Jim, who was Susan's sister, Susan's brother. No.
Thank you. Yep, nice.
So blah blah blah. So Jim was Susan's brother, and he agreed with Sergeant Dean Henwood, and he believed that Lewa killed his sister. He thought they'd planned to only rape her. Well, not only, but yeah. But Susan stuck up for herself with the bat she had next to her bed, so he ended up taking the bat off her and killed her. So that's what the brother believes. Tim McKinnell looked into it again, the private investigator, and there was the Detective Sergeant Henwood that was on that agreed with Jim as well. So Porter was released on parole 20 years after his sentencing in April 2014. The council overturned Porter's convictions in March 2015, and in June 2016, Porter was awarded $2.52 million in compensation, and this increased to $3.5 million in 2017 to match inflation.
How many years did he do?
He came out in 2014, and he was sentenced in 1996, I believe.
Whoa.
Oh, 98. Sorry, no.
That's a...
No,
yeah.
1994. So, yeah, he was there. Oh, it literally says it here right in front of me. 20 years. I need to read my shit better. So, yeah, 20 years after his sentencing. So, he was in prison for 20 years.
Wow.
And he got $3.5 million to match, well, his time in prison, just to compensate him for it. He was also given a government apology for his wrongful imprisonment.
Good.
So, jumping back to Lewa, he had 3 trials. Like I said earlier, the first one found him guilty of the rape of Susan in 1999 when he got those extra years added on to his sentence for his previous rapes. But the jury could not decide if he had been involved in her murder. So that's why Porter was found guilty still in 2000.
They should have not...
Yeah.
They should have found, like, a jury that knew nothing about the case. And
well, it was probably quite a well-known case, though.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm sure there's, like, someone, like, at least 10 people in New Zealand who did not know about this case.
But it's got to be in Auckland or wherever it is, doesn't it? The jury? Because I was put on, well, I got asked to be put on jury duty in Dunedin, but I'd already moved up to Palmy by that stage. And they said, like, it's in your area, so you get randomly picked from your area and then go to the court.
I'm sure they could have found 10 random people to sit down and go over this case and gotten a completely, non-biased opinion.
Yeah.
Because the jury was obviously tainted, and they've said that.
Well, they haven't said it, though. They just couldn't decide.
Because someone was already convicted, so they shouldn't have even been given that information.
Yeah. So the second jury, because there was 3 trials, the second jury also could not decide if he was guilty of her murder or not. So the Solicitor General decided to impose a stay of proceedings against further prosecution after the second trial. So again, that's what happened before as well. Although this was lifted after the council revoked Porter's convictions in 2015. This brought about the third trial in 2019, so years later and quite recently, within which Lewa suggested that Susan's son, who had only just come back into her life, had killed her for his inheritance. So Susan had a son. They just recently got in contact before her murder, and then she was murdered. Lewa still maintained that he was having an affair with Susan, saying he had sex with her in the mornings. But this didn't make sense, as the semen was found in Susan after her shower at night, because remember, she had a shower and then went to bed, and did not. This did not make sense as the semen is found in her shower at night. So this did not make sense, as the semen was found in Susan after her shower at night. So remember, she had that shower after she finished bowling and then went to bed. The semen was also not found in her underwear or pants. Lewa spoke at the trial and said he would never forgive himself for hurting the woman he did, but denied raping and murdering Susan. So again, he expressed, like previously in his first conviction, he expressed remorse for the people he raped, but he confessed to raping, but not the people that he didn't confess to. So he's just saying pretty much the same thing. Good. After less than 4 hours and 27 years later, the jury on his third trial found him guilty for both the rape and the murder of Susan Burdett. So 27 years later, and a wrongful imprisonment later as well. God. So he was sentenced to life imprisonment at the High Court in Auckland, and it was ensured that he would never be set free due to remaining a danger to his community.
Good.
So Jim, Susan's brother, was happy with the final guilty verdict, and he said that the right person is in the right place for the right reason. He also acknowledged the wrongful conviction of Porter and included him in the many lives that were damaged by Lewa's actions, because there were a shit ton of lives damaged. So there is a few hypotheses, because the story's kind of a bit all over the show. There's different evidence, but yeah. So it was thought that Porter and Lewa had acted together to rape and murder Susan, but like I said earlier, this didn't make sense because the detective sergeant said that Lewa worked alone, and they were also in different gangs as well. So Porter was a mongrel mob prospect, and Lewa was belonging to the Highway 61 gang.
Yeah, and those.
Yeah, gangs. Yeah. So there's that. That's my little knowledge of the gang section. So it was highly unlikely again that Lewa would work with someone else, especially because he'd been doing that by himself all the time.
It's unlikely that he'd change his pattern.
Yeah. So this was also backed up by Professor Lawrence Allison. He was a chair of forensic psychology at Liverpool Uni. I just included that to make it longer. Nice. Thank you. So the second hypothesis was brought up by Lewa's defence, who said that Susan's son had killed her for the inheritance.
Okay. Yeah.
So this was fought heavily by the son, and the son also said Lewa was the one on trial and not him. Fair enough. Fair. Fair enough, I guess.
Fair comment.
Not sticking up for Lewa at all, but it is a fair assumption, I guess, to make, unless Lewa killed her and then he's just lying to put it with someone else. So there's something extra to spice things up as well.
Oh, God.
So a lady called Winsome Anstey described herself as Susan's best friend. She said that Susan admitted to her that she was secretly seeing someone, and his name was Mike, and he was married with kids and had gang connections. So remember that Lewa had that nickname Hammer and also Michael. So that kind of adds a bit of spice to things.
Is he married and does he have kids?
Yeah, he was married and did he have kids? I think he did. He did, because he raped the nurse at the hospital. Yeah. Oh yeah, disgusting. So but if what he was said is true, but what if what he was said is true about feeling remorse for the woman he hurt, but not the ones he didn't confess to, then perhaps they don't have the right person. I don't know. Just an hypothesis. And also maybe she knew they were beforehand and just planted that story. I don't know. So it should be noted. So this is what you were talking about for Tina Porter before, ages ago. It was noted that Porter was born with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. So this was caused from his mum drinking throughout his pregnancy, and so that can cause some delays in thinking.
Mental delays,
yeah. And also remember that he told police he was going through a tough time as well, and he just wanted to feel, I'm guessing he just wanted to feel involved. So that's why he said to the police he just wanted to make them happy, and that's why he, at the start for the $20,000, he gave them 2 names and said that he was involved, like he was the person there. So also his mum died when he was 4, and he had no father figure as well. So that's why he was with the aunt. That's why the aunt had such a big...
I'm going to backtrack slightly because we're going to try and lengthen this as much as possible.
Yeah.
But something happened like this in a case in America called the Memphis 3.
Yeah.
And 3 people were wrongly convicted
Yeah.
for the murder of this young boy.
Yeah.
Boy. And one of them had mental delays as well, and he implicated the other two. And yeah.
Yeah. So the people that Porter said, because he gave two, well, he agreed to two names.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing. If they weren't involved, that they had alibis, otherwise it probably could have ended up like that. So it was good that, well, not good, but there could have been 3 wrongful imprisonments, and by then there was 1. So yeah. So anyway, that's why he was living with his aunt, because he had that background.
And that's most probably why the mob wanted him.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean? Why the
Because
mob?
he implicated 2 of the other members.
Ah, I didn't think of it that way. That makes sense. That makes good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mean,
yeah, so you can yeah, there was a little bit of stuff going on there. Yeah. I couldn't find hardly any information on Susan other than she really liked Tempin bowling.
Same.
Yeah, it's a good sport. I suck at it though. But if anyone's got any information about Susan and maybe what she was like, we'd love to hear it so we can post it on our pages. Yeah, just a new memory, because I did look and I just couldn't find anything. It'd be really nice to just focus on who she was and put that out there. But yeah, so he was imprisoned. Tina Porter was imprisoned wrongfully for 20 years. He did get $3.5 million, but he also lost 20 years in prison, so I don't think that's very fair.
How old was he when he went away?
He was 17 in 1992. So 2 years later, so he was 19. 18, 19 when he went to prison.
So how old was he when he got out? Because I can't math. 40.
38, 39.
Yeah.
38 or 39.
Thank you. I can't math right now.
Yeah. And keep in mind too that Lewa got away with all those those rapes for years, up until he got caught from that car registration by that dad.
10 out of 10 for effort, Dad.
Oh yeah, 100%. Probably most dads would do that in that position though, because excuse my language, fuck that piece of shit. Not the dad.
He could,
Not the dad.
But you got to think he could be blinded by rage at that point in time. So that's incredible that he remembered the number plate.
Yeah, that is really impressive, eh? So props to you, Dad, for bringing this case forward. Well, bringing this case and getting Porter out of prison.
You're such a dad.
And getting the other one into prison. Yeah, you're such a dad. I love it. But yeah, so that's the murder of Susan Burdett. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, awful.
But thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for your time. We're done now. So yeah, and yeah, we're done. I shouldn't be laughing.
We did a workout before this, so we're completely buggered. So.
We're high on endorphins as well.
So we're not going to do that next time. We'll record first and then work out after. Yeah. Work out all the disgustingness.
But hey, I'm Andi.
And I'm Ayla.
And that was
Sinister Dynasty.